15 years now. I've been talking to people that are either heading into retirement or are in retirement. I've learned a lot, quite a bit. And one of the things that I wanted to do was talk about some of the biggest regrets some of my most experienced clients have expressed. And I thought it was some kind of a neat collection of great experiences and things that we should all think about, certainly as we head towards retirement or we're in retirement. So let's start with one that nobody wants to be harped on about. But I'm starting to, experience my own health issues and start thinking about, why didn't I start eating healthier earlier? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? So yeah, eat better, stay active. The earlier you start getting that into your routine, the more life that you're going to have that's going to be enjoyable. And that's one of the things that I saw as common regrets, was really realizing that the healthier path created a much better lifestyle for them. And so there was a consistent regret that I've seen out there of, I wish I started doing it earlier. And luckily I'm approaching 50. I'm not there yet. I'm approaching 50, and I had a doctor tell me I'm pre-diabetic. And so I started changing my eating. I started the exercise thing. I started changing things. And one thing dawned on me, I drank coffee with that creamer, with sugary creamer in it all my life. I've had an IV of coffee in me since I was probably 15, 16 years old, growing up in Seattle. And so I recently decided to cut it off and just say no. And it's not that I said no to coffee, but I actually said no to the creamer, and I started drinking black coffee. And at first, my taste buds weren't used to it. I didn't like it, but I forced myself to do it. And the funny thing is, before I did that, I tried all the alternative sugars, and ooh, was that terrible. But literally a week later of only drinking black coffee, I now actually enjoy it. It's very strange. It was much quicker than trying all these other alternative things. So now I drink black coffee. And my doctor said, well, the problem is we're seeing your spikes in your blood pressure. So now I'm at half calf. Didn't even notice a difference. I'm sure very soon I'll be in decaf. And the funny thing is, I'm not even afraid of it, because I think I'm not going to notice the difference. And so until you push yourself to create that routine and change that part of your lifestyle and do it consistently, you dread it. But when you do change it and then you look back and go, it wasn't really that hard. I wish I would have done it earlier. And so I've seen a lot of that in our clients, especially as the little aches and pains start showing up, or the wake up call at the doctor happens. So that's something that I always want people to proactively think about, and try just one little thing to make yourself more healthy, and then realize how much easier it was for you. So the next one, more on the emotional side. This is more the be present in life. This is that saying, enjoy the journey, not necessarily the destination. Because if you get to the end, then where are you and what are you going to do next? So make sure that you're cherishing every moment. And I get a lot of the regrets of wanting to spend more time with your kids and your grandkids, and should have done more things, should have, all of that. I've seen a lot of that type of regret. So put the friends, and it's not just family, it's friends and family, and getting together with them and doing things with them and spending more time with them. But being present in that moment always helps as well. Next one, loss of curiosity and wonder. And this is something I've observed in a lot of people. And this is not something that, I go and tell them, you need to be more curious about life. No, this is just understanding, the thinking about these questions that I kind of put on here was, what happens if you make it to the end of the bucket list? I was talking to my parents, and there's really only 3 or 4 places that they really want to go. So that travel bucket list is almost empty, and they're pushing close to 80 at this point. So they've done lots of travel, 2, 3 international trips every year in their retirement. They've been wonderful at it. They're starting to approach the end of that bucket list. And so, you got to encourage, well, what about this place? Oh, we really had fun here. You got to see this. And now we start getting more on there. There should never be an end to that bucket list. What do you do when you've learned everything you think you want to know? I've got a library picture on here over here. I wonder about that because I'm not a reader. I don't sit and read books all day long. I'll fall asleep in an instant. I'm busy, 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 busy. If I sit down and start reading a book, I'm out like a light. So, what happens if you're a reader and you've read every book that you want to read? Think through these things. Make sure there's no end to these bucket lists. Make sure there's no end to the curiosity, to the wonder, to the wanting to learn more. At some point we get to that sense that the end is close on what we want to learn. I don't want this to be a morbid conversation. I want this to be a curiosity conversation. I don't know that I've met anybody that's been everywhere. So that's important to understand. There's lots of neat little places. And if you have trouble finding places to travel, I can help with that one. I'm not sure I can help with books, but I'm sure there's plenty of other things. But it's just that pure curiosity, that wonder, that childish behavior that, as a kid, we were always curious about everything and tried to figure things out. Well, then we figured it all out. Then what do? All right. So try to stay curious. Never come to the end of any bucket list. Create more. Then, little selfish one here. Not finding me sooner. No, well, seriously, having a good financial planner, and I am a huge advocate of a good finance. I have to be careful here. I am an advocate of a good financial planner in that transition to retirement. So maybe 5 years before you retire, on into and through retirement. That's when people like myself are very helpful. Before that, they just charge fees to pick investments. They're not as useful at that point. So understand, a good financial planner is going to help in a lot of different ways, but the big things that I've seen out there and in what my clients have voiced, okay, so it's a bit of a me thing here because it is my clients that I've been talking to and I'm extrapolating these experiences. But the regret is not getting into this sooner, because the confidence I see is the biggest thing, the confidence to spend money. I spend more time cheerleading the spending of their savings than I do anything else. It's very strange for a lot of people to hear that. But the reality is I want you to go enjoy this money. Most people tell me they're not concerned about how much goes to their heirs. They know something will be left over and that'll be fine. But the reality is they want to go spend what they made and enjoyed and saved. So that's the idea of a good plan. Okay. That's really important. It's understanding how much money you have and how much you're allowed to spend, so you can say yes to things a little more confidently and go enjoy your retirement. But the efficiency side of this is also going to allow you to spend more, paying less on taxes, less on fees, better investing strategies. These things are all going to create efficiencies in your portfolio to help you go enjoy that retirement. And then another part of my job, believe it or not, look, I have lots of spouses that disagree in money. And that's why I make videos that pertain to this part of the world. We have to understand that it's okay to be different in your views of money, but there has to be something that pulls us together in that. So mediating spousal money arguments. I want all the money out of the market. I want all the money in the market. I think you spend too much. I don't think we spend enough. Everything. It's very polarizing and somewhat entertaining for me to see that polarizing attitude. And it's very interesting. But I've always been able to find that common ground and then find that common goal. And that becomes very useful in this part of it as well. So good financial planners are going to be helping with a lot of these things. And that's what I think is, especially somebody that doesn't find a good one until they're maybe in their 70s or maybe never finds a good one. Right? There's a transition in life from just having an advisor that picks the investments to somebody that actually helps you. And that's the important part when you start heading into that transition to retirement phase of life. And then the last one I want to talk about is being too cautious. Look, this one's impossible to make black and white. Look, everybody looks back, and hindsight's 2020. Boy, I wish I put all my money in Microsoft in 1987. Okay, yeah, okay, I get it. Get more aggressive with your investing. That's great. And also, all those people that wanted to buy all the marijuana stocks, that's all that aggressive behavior. They all went to zero, by the way. So we got to understand that this one's a little bit hard. I wanted to go skydiving and I never did it. I was always afraid of it. Well, but the parachute couldn't, may not have opened, and you wouldn't have been here to have that conversation. So when we talk about, being too cautious, personally, the personal side of this, it means they wish they spent a little more. They ended up, later in life having way more money than they needed, and they should have and could have spent more in their earlier years. They could have done more. They could have gone on trips. They could have, they could have gone, learned how to scuba dive. There's a lot of things that they wanted to do that they didn't do. Professionally, they wanted to make more. They wanted, maybe a different career. I wish I could do it all again, and I could have been this. Mine is a pilot. I'm jealous of all my pilot clients because I think about retirement with my own little plane and I can go anywhere. And I know people with planes that aren't really that wealthy. I mean, you think if they own their own plane, they're got to be super wealthy. No, normal people own planes. If you have a pilot's license, you run into opportunities to buy planes for very, much less expensive than most people think. And owning a plane, yeah, it's a little different than owning a car, but it's one of my personal things that if I could start over again, it'd be fun to be a pilot, forced to work 24 hours or less every week. Then there's go self-employed. Well, I got that one knocked off the planet. I've been self-employed most of my life. So professionally, there's all the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I wish I did. And then money, invest more. Again, investing is hindsight. You could always go back and pick the perfect investment, but some people wake up and realize, yeah, I was probably a little too conservative, or I should have invested more in my younger years, or all of those things. So these were the regrets, the hindsight that a lot of our clients have had, and things that we can learn from. We got to open up the conversation on a lot of these things to make sure that we're able to go enjoy our retirement and make the most of it. That's the biggest thing. If we can learn from other people's mistakes, that's going to help us in our retirement. And I think that's been one of the more rewarding things of my career is really looking at all this and looking at how much I've learned and how many lessons I've learned by other people's failures. So it's a great thing that I've been able to be a part of for so long. And it's part of what I enjoy so much. And I don't know if or when I'll retire, but the reality is I certainly know how to. So if I can help in any way, I'm always happy to. Yourinvestmentcounselor.com is our new website. You can schedule any type of appointment you want with me. FPFEAZ.org is our nonprofit organization. That's where we do the full nonprofit education. So we're talking hour and a half-ish type classes instead of this YouTube where it's 10, 20 minutes. So visit that website. We do them live over Zoom. We do them in person here in Scottsdale, and we also leave a recorded one on that website in the on-demand tab there, so you can watch the whole class as well. So always happy to help. I hope you enjoyed this topic, because to me, this is the great stuff. This is the stuff that helps us become a little more introspective and find ways to enjoy our retirement and make the most of it. All right, everybody, have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. All right, have a good one. Thank you. Bye.